All right, we're live. Hey everyone, I'm T. Krulos.
And I'm Heidi Erickson.
Okay, so weather this time of year usually is a little up and down. Feels like it's been even more so the last week. And we got some ice today here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was real special and exciting. Although I think that we didn't get it as bad here in Bayview as some people did, because
Yeah,
some people were talking about their cars were frozen shut and like all that kind of crazy stuff. But still, it was
yeah,
it was
yeah,
adequately treacherous. It was
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very festive.
I saw that a plow truck flipped over on its side at Mitchell
Oh,
International Airport because it
yeah,
was slippery. Especially, I feel like the sun kind of came out and melted it down a bit, but when it's
yeah,
early in the morning and the sun hasn't really come out yet, then that's really dangerous because
yeah,
that ice is super slick.
yeah.
But you posted this in the Tease Weird Week Facebook group, which people should seek out and join. It's a nice piece of synchronicity, as they say in
That's
paranormal circles.
nobody says that. Soup's not a word, but that's cool. That's
Oh
cool.
no, it totally is. People will find like anything that'll relate to anything, and they'll be like, "What's
Yeah.
this so weird piece of synchronicity that happened
Uh,
to fall into the story?" I'm like, "Okay, well, it could also."
synchronicity. That sounds like a sinus infection. Yeah, it was. I did think it was a little bit weird. Also, there's a whole thing that goes with it. Okay, so what you're talking about is the ice storm that happened
The
on the
Great Ice Storm of
yeah,
2/22/22, which
yeah.
is today, but
Mhm.
also, of course, there was a 2/22/22 in 1922.
Yep. It was 100 years ago to the day that the
Mm-hmm.
ice storm came through Wisconsin. The second I saw that, I thought of that scene from Pee Wee's Big Adventure with Large Marge. Remember that?
Yeah, right.
On a night just like tonight. And then her
Yeah,
face rips off.
yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
great. I love the French. Yeah, so that it did happen. But when that happened, I mean, I read that they lost power, they lost their telephone wires, but everything back then was like huge and made out of wood. So like I guess that makes sense. I do remember, gosh, this must have been 20 years ago. The only other ice storm I ever saw where I was living out in the country and we did lose power and like I remember going like 10 feet down my driveway and like giving up and crawling back on my hands and knees. And it took me like 45 minutes to go that 10 feet and back. And that's what I was expecting today. I was prepared for that. I actually have the little springy ice things that you put on the bottoms of your shoes because my
Oh yeah.
mother felt like I needed that for Christmas one year, even though I was pretty sure I would never use them in my entire life. I was wrong. Mom was right. Take a note, write it down. But it was yeah, it was not too shabby. But there's another thing that's also synchronous that's happening today that correlates with the ice storm of 2222, and that is that in addition to that weird synchronicity happening, Pluto is returning to its direct alignment with the planet Earth today, which hasn't happened since the 4th of July, 1776. And it only happens every couple hundred years. And that also happened on Tuesday, 2222 Tuesday. So
Hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of what did you say? Synchronicities?
Yes. Yeah.
Synchronicities
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. People will like I've seen documentaries where they're like, and then the weirdest synchronicity happened.
I
I
love that.
was
I love we can just make words up
we
whenever we want.
we were looking for Bigfoot and we saw a sign that said big and down the road we saw another sign that said foot.
It
So it
was
totally tied
crazy.
in. Yeah.
I saw a guy and his feet were above average size. And then in the woods, a synchronicity. Cool. I love that for us. Well, I'm glad it wasn't too synchronous because I wasn't really interested in losing power and crawling on my hands and knees down my driveway. So,
So we're
yeah,
lined up with Pluto right now, you're
we
saying,
are. We are. And
which
Pluto. Pluto is the lord of
which
destruction and rebirth.
and it may or may not be a planet, as I recall. There was some debate about
Yeah.
that.
I'm just gonna let Pluto be a planet because I'm not qualified to make that distinction, and it works for me, and that's fine. Sometimes I think I believe in astrology, and sometimes I think I don't. I think generally it falls into that category that most things fall into for me, which is maybe the world's real weird and messed up, and I'm just a monkey in a spacesuit. So I guess it's possible. But yeah, Pluto is the named after the Lord of Death, the Roman god of death, and in astrology, he is the master of destruction and rebirth. So that's a whole thing, and of course, you can go and find a bazillion different things that happens. Your grandma's pie fell, you know. Somebody invented telemarketing, all the things that could have happened on the last time that Pluto was in orbit. But if you're into that kind of scene, man, then it means that, like, I don't know, crazy stuff is supposed to happen. Did anything crazy happen? Do we
Oh
have
yeah.
any
Oh,
evidence?
no, everything was totally normal. Just kidding.
Weird.
Hey, we have someone. We can't see who this commenter is because StreamYard won't for some reason. But someone's watching. They say, "Hi, TWWians."
Hush.
Is that what
Is that what
followers of T's Weird Week are going to be called? TWWians?
TWW is? It
TWWians.
doesn't really roll off the tongue. I'm not gonna
I'm not
lie.
sure. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
But we need to think of a term though.
we really should. How are some people supposed to start a cult if they don't even know what they're called, T? We're failing these people, and I'm sad about it.
So I'm going to talk about another cult in a minute, but before
Oh,
we
great.
totally leave the subject, sometime we got to talk about the theory that there is a planet beyond Pluto. It's
Oh, yeah.
sometimes referred to as Planet X, or there's another. I think that they called it Nibiru or
Yep.
Nibiru.
I'm familiar.
Oh, you are? Okay, yeah, it's this like mystery planet out there, and there's all these theories about it. And every once in a while, someone will come up with the theory that Planet X is heading right towards Earth,
Yeah.
and it's going to crash into it, or it's going to pass so closely that all sorts of crazy shit is going to
Well,
happen.
they're there.
Some people say that there's like different races of
Sure.
extraterrestrials that live on this planet.
Well, there's actually some evidence for a large extraplanetary body making a huge orbit around our star, the sun. Like there's gravitational evidence that suggests that's actually possible, and that it probably makes its orbit around the sun something ridiculous, like every 3,000 years or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not anything except for just a big ass rock that also happens to be in the orbit of the sun. There's also a theory that the sun has a twin, that the sun is actually a part of a binary system, and the other star is dead, and that's why we can't see it. And they named that other star Nemesis.
Oh,
And
nice.
right? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Doesn't that just have awesome written all over it? And the idea, of course, because there's it can't just be a star. They named it Nemesis. There's got to be a tragic backstory. The idea is that Nemesis will eventually rotate back around as well, and in doing so, of course, it will take all of the sun's planets with us, including dear old down home Wisconsin and the earth that it is planted on. So look out for that, you guys. I don't know, like keep your eyes open or whatever.
Holy smokes.
I know. That's great. Isn't that great? The universe is full of wacky shit. I love it.
Oh, here's a person. Unfortunately, is Judy. Judy is really great. She volunteered at the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. We had a birthday the same weekend, so we had cakes at the Ghost Story open mic together there. So hi, Judy. Thanks for
Hi,
watching.
Judy.
It's good to see you. You're a great person.
You're a delight.
Okay, so last week we talked about the Illuminati secret ritual at the Super
Okay.
Bowl, right? Right.
Love it. Fantastic. Everybody got a
So,
gift bag. Lots of fun.
we talked about that. I wrote a little bit about it for my T's Weird Week column as well. And then after the column was published with the link to the podcast, I do what I do every Friday, which is I posted the link to Facebook and to Twitter and to LinkedIn and to Instagram.
You posted it to LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I have a LinkedIn profile that I've never done anything with, and then I was like, well, I got this thing, so I might as well just copy and paste whatever I'm posting elsewhere to it.
Outstanding.
And once in a while, it'll get like one like, or someone will leave a comment like every like 4 or 5 weeks. So
Well,
it's
that's
not
great.
big. There's not a big reaction on LinkedIn, but I'm like,
No,
well,
that's
I
good.
might as
Well,
well. Might as well.
you never know though, because like sooner or later somebody's gonna need like a local treasure who knows all about Bigfoot and the Illuminati. Okay, I love that. You posted it
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Fabulous.
Yeah. So
Did you put it on your OnlyFans also? You gotta
I am still developing that. It's not live yet. I'm still working on it.
It's fair.
So pretty shortly after I posted it on Instagram, I got a message, and it's from an account that's called Illuminati Official, but official is spelt wrong. And here's the message. It's very intriguing. It jumps right into it. Based on the membership criterion of the Illuminati, we find you to be of a great interest in possession of a good mastery of manual dexterity and academic proficiency. With this, we look at you as the class that will be the platform for which you stand to meet the wealthy people who can raise you to wealth, power, fame, and glory. I strongly recommend that you join us in the Illuminati. Joining the Illuminati comes with a lot of benefits. To start a better life with your family. Do you accept the offer? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not? Ain't nothing else going on Tuesdays. Let's go. Let's go. Wait, hold on. Did they say something about manual dexterity?
Yeah.
Are you sure this isn't like a really fancy bowling league?
I was like, what? Where'd you get that from? From the fact that I can type, push buttons, and
they've been watching T. They know all about your manual dexterity. That's off-putting. That's what that is. Ooh, okay. So you accepted, obviously, because
I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And but then, and then they had some replies, and they kept calling me brother, which is, I guess, a brother of the Illuminati.
Sure.
But they were asking me for a WhatsApp over and over again. I was like, why? And they're like, well, what's your WhatsApp? And we'll tell you. And then they were asking for my phone number. And I was like, I don't want to be part of this Illuminati.
Your social security number. So they've been watching you close enough that they know about your manual dexterity, but they don't know your phone number.
Yeah.
That seems unlikely. Oh, that's too bad. I was really excited for you to finally be a part of the Illuminati and be able to go to that weird owl festival or whatever that they have, and adrenochromes. I was like, finally gonna know what those taste like. That's great. Inquiring minds want to know.
Get some good seats at the Super Bowl, I guess, even though
for sure
I don't even want to go.
Oh man, you know what's funny? I have no interest in going to the Super Bowl whatsoever. But if I thought there was going to be a proper satanic ritual starring Beyonce in the middle, I would for sure go. I would endure the other 4 hours of sports just to see the satanic ritual. So that's I don't know, for marketing for next year in case they need help. NFL, it's a free idea. NFL, you can have it.
It's so funny. I mean, there really isn't an Illuminati. Okay, I mean there was at one point, but it's really funny to me that people are so freaked out by the Masons, because I know a couple of dudes who are Masons. They're members of the Freemasons, and it's just a normal, boring club where dudes hang out.
It's just the
you
Blue
know.
Buffalo Club. Or wait,
Right.
what was the one that Fred Flintstone was a part of?
Yeah, that was the Royal Order of Water Buffalo, something like that.
They've got really sweet merch. Is pretty much it. That's all. That's it. And that's all. Although I mean, I guess don't the
They have fun
Freemasons go?
hats.
They have fun hats. I think you get a fez, which is, I mean, that's pretty sweet. Don't they go back a super long way though? Like the Masons have been around for
Yeah,
kind of a long time. They're a
yeah, yeah,
venerable organization. So I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And they used
okay,
to. I mean, they've always had like powerful people in the past, but
yeah,
I mean, over the many decades since, it's just kind of devolved, I guess is maybe the word, into like a clubhouse,
yeah,
and it's not, I mean, it's more of like a middle class thing now, I think.
yeah,
Upper middle class thing.
yeah. I
So,
don't think, yeah, it's just whatever. It is what it is. I remember very much watching Peggy Sue Got Married. Do you remember that movie? And
mm.
like, oh, I'm sure all you kids don't remember Peggy Sue Got Married. It had Nick Cage and Kathleen Turner in it. If you even know who those people are, you whippersnappers. But in the movie, Peggy Sue's grandfather was a member of the Masons, and because of their tomfoolery, she was transported backwards in time. But then at the end of the movie, it turned out she wasn't transported backward in time because the Masons, it was just some wacky hijinks perpetrated by the universe at whim. But I always thought it was probably like that, just a bunch of dudes wearing fezzes, kicking it, and like
And
eating dips.
they help each other out, but I mean, like, they'll help them get a good deal on a car or something because they're in
Sure.
the same club, but that's kind of true of any like circle of people.
Yeah.
They help each other like get good deals and help them problem solve and stuff like that. But
Right. They come over and help you fix your lawnmower or get your cat off the roof or whatever, like folks do. Yeah, I mean, I would be a Mason, whatever. I'm into it. If they would contact me on Instagram and God,
I was like,
so many,
I expected something a little bit more mystical than a Instagram message,
right. You
like
think,
a fucking owl lands on my porch with
right.
a roll of parchment,
Right. Like some Harry Potter shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
come home and there's like what? A goblin or whatever. And you got to give him a sock. And then he takes you to, yeah, yeah. It should be something. Not to say if magic and mysticism exist, I think they exist on the internet as much as they exist anyplace else. Why would it be any less magical there? I don't know if you've been down to some of the deeper parts of the internet, but it is pretty magical. But I think if you're going to get invited to like a time traveling, world controlling, adrenochrome drinking society, definitely you should like at least get like like a keychain or like they should send something to you. A t-shirt I think would be nice. Like a beer cozy. Everybody's got those beer cozies, right? Little sleeves you put beers in, and there should be some fanfare, like fireworks. I think would not be out of line at all. Perhaps you get like an exotic pet, like an ocelot. I don't know. I'm just, I'm just saying,
Here,
infiltrate the Masons. That will make some good TV.
I
You know
think this
what?
is still Judy or maybe it's someone else. But that's the thing though. I don't know that it would make good TV. I think it would be like a bunch of dudes playing Texas Hold'em
Right,
wearing their fezzes. Maybe
right.
it would, maybe. I don't know.
Down at the lodge with the same green carpet they've had since 1977. You know, orange vinyl like bar stools, and yeah, I think it probably is pretty boring. It's probably pretty boring. Although, I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe the Masons got it going on. I'm not
And
here to knock them.
some of their clubhouses are pretty gorgeous too, by the way. I saw
Oh, I
one,
bet.
I forget what state it was in. It was somewhere in the Midwest, but there was a Mason clubhouse for sale, and a couple bought it as like their home, and it's got like this big amphitheater ballroom. It looks like it's something out of Eyes Wide Shut. And then they have like this office space with like built-in bookcases, and it's really beautiful. They're gonna live in it, and then there's sort of a big basement area that has a kitchen that's like really good for
Cool.
parties. They're gonna rent that out for parties. It's
That's
pretty
awesome.
dope. It'd be
That is
pretty
pretty
dope to
dope.
live in a Mason temple.
I mean, it would, but it would be pretty cool to live in a Dunkin' Donuts too. So I'm like, it just depends on what your predilection is, I suppose. Yeah. Well, great. Well, fantastic. Well, hopefully that comes through for you, T. Like, you don't know. Maybe you will get your owl buddy. Maybe or your ocelot. Maybe that will happen. I'm gonna I'm gonna call it a hard maybe.
So speaking of social media and infiltrating, this was my temptation of the week. Trump he's got his own social media network that launched this week. It's called Truth Social because they only speak the truth on this social network. And I was like, damn, I really want to troll this Truth Social.
You absolutely. I can't believe you're not doing it right now.
Well,
Actually,
I think what's going to happen is the next time I have a couple of drinks, then that's what is going to happen.
you guys, we should have a trolling party on the Weird Week where we all have a cocktail of our choosing and just try and outdo each other with trolling on truth.com.org or whatever. I heard that he opened it up and it was like, didn't it crash right away? Like it was full of bugs and some crazy shit happened.
Yeah, I mean there was, of course, lots of other media outlets wanted to get on there because they wanted to see the car crash for themselves. But a lot of them couldn't get on because it was so glitchy, like it wouldn't let them sign up and it was crashing. And yeah, so
That's too
we got
bad.
we gotta work some of the bugs out. Who would have guessed that it would be glitchy? I mean,
There's just nothing I hate more than an incompetent villain. Like, if you're gonna be a motherfucker, at least like Jesus, get your shit together. Like, make it happen. It's embarrassing, is what it is, bud. Criminally.
So here's a guy who's down with Trump and has some interesting ideas himself. I'm talking about our favorite pillow salesman, Mike Lindell, the Mike Pillow guy. There's a really interesting situation in Canada, of course, where there is this blockade of truckers, and they are upset about vaccine and mask mandates. And we're about 2 years into a pandemic now. It's crazy, and
Yeah.
people are losing their shit. I went to Collectivo here in Bayview, and this woman was having a real bad time because the employees told her to put a mask on when she came in, and she was saying that it wasn't a law and she has a right not to wear a mask and stuff like that. And she was upset about it. I get it, wearing a mask kind of sucks, but at the same time, if they tell you to wear a mask inside of their business, I think you should. Anyway,
there's a lot of people that argue that like it should be on the businesses to like decide whether or not they want people to wear masks and it shouldn't be a law. But the problem with that is you end up with kids working at a coffee shop making minimum wage who have to deal with that shit
yeah,
for minimum wage. It's not like the person who runs the business is the person who has to stand at the door
yeah,
and tell crazy people that they need to wear a mask. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, there was that one guy got punched outside of a Costco for telling people to put their masks on. The other guy got spit on, like, and that's not even
yeah,
going into people who worked in restaurants and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
it's just not super good. But yeah, so these
yeah,
guys they don't want to have a mask mandate. They don't want to have a vaccine mandate.
yeah. So
That's
they've
the
been
thing.
congregating in Ottawa, and there's been some kind of similar truck or vehicle blockades that have been happening in other parts of the world already too. Australia, New Zealand, parts of Europe, and they're saying it's going to happen here. So a lot of people are weighing in on that situation in Canada, which I think that they still have the blockade up. I think it's starting to fall apart now because they're starting to remove some of those vehicles. But of course, the My Pillow guy has to step in, and he wanted to support these truckers by sending a shipment of My Pillows to them. But the thing is, it's a blockade, So he couldn't get the pillows past the blockade. That's why it's there. So like,
Yeah.
commerce can't happen, and it's is act of civil disobedience, I guess. Although it feels weird to call it that. So but this Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, he's an outside the box thinker. So he came up with a new plan, which is he would airdrop the pillows via helicopter, and to make sure that they don't, I don't know, people don't get too hardly hit with a pillow, is going to attach little parachutes to the pillows. So they they sailed down to these truckers.
Well, that
These
sounds just
truckers can
precious.
grab the pillows and then curl up in their truck and go to
Aw,
sleep while everyone's honking their horns, I guess.
that's really, really cute and adorable. I love that for him. I think whenever anybody stages like this grand act of theater, which is all, I mean, that's all it is. He's not super concerned that these people don't have pillows. It's just really important to him that everybody knows that he, the My Pillow guy, supports not getting vaccinated and your right to not wear a mask. The amount of money that goes into that, like you could have bought a billboard like every 10 miles from Florida all the way up to Canada with a picture of your face and the words underneath that say, I kissed Donald Trump's ass for less money than it probably costs to airdrop a million parachuted pillows onto people who totally don't need pillows. I'm sure at the blockade, that's like the first thing you bring to a blockade. Okay. It's like Alka-Seltzer and a pillow. It's like this guy's never, it's like amateur hour over here. Also, I think that didn't Justin Trudeau, the erstwhile Prime Minister of Canada, didn't he like freeze their bank accounts and shit? Like he got real serious about these protesters. Like, whoa, supers. Like I almost think that's like a bigger deal. Like these people are protesting about this. They're definitely holding up the works. We already had supply chain shortages. This is a problem. Um, but the fact that the Prime Minister of Canada like actively went and froze these people's assets and like went into their personal shit and was like, zoink, you think you're gonna protest today, eh? I think not. Like that's
Yeah.
it's kind
Well,
of a lot.
yeah, but see, there you go. Then they might need the pillows.
To cry into because they're broke.
We need to get the My Pillows to the people, is like Mike Lindell says.
Should fill them with cash because those people are boned right now. Fill them with cash and peanut butter, Mike Lindell.
It is. I get. It's definitely a performance, but it is a little hard to tell with him sometimes. Like,
Right.
He's got like this. Like he probably thinks it's like the patriotic thing to do. Airdrop pillows into Canada.
Patriotic pillowcase parachute phenomena. That's a terrible band name. Boo to you, Mike Liddell. Okay, well, I mean, good for them. At least they'll have pillows. I'm happy for them. That sounds fabulous.
Someone's doing a little Berlin riff here. 99 shitty pillows floating in the winter sky.
Yeah. I think they're getting like a blizzard on that side of the country right now, too. What happens if those pillows get caught up in the blizzard and then it's like weird, like pillow fight situations where people get taken out by pillows flying at 70 miles an hour? You didn't really think this one through, Mike Lindell. They're going to get coated in ice and like weigh 100 pounds and just drop on people's head. This is catastrophe waiting to happen. I can see it.
Oh, that's Ray.
Oh, it's Ray.
It wasn't Judy like I thought. It was Ray.
That's such a Ray thing to say.
99 shitty pillows.
Oh, mercy. Okay. Well, I don't know.
We'll see what happens. I actually, that story was from a few days ago. And so right before we got on the air here, I wanted to see if there was a follow-up because he was saying he was going to do it. But I think that once again, he was probably just all talk, because if it would have happened, I'm pretty sure that, there would have been some sort of report on it, some video,
Yeah, we'd have
and
some footage
I
for
did
sure.
not see anything like that. So my assumption is that it was just like his squirrel brain thought of this idea and he put it out there, and then like he completely forgot about it an hour later, and someone was like, "Hey, remember you're gonna airdrop all of those pillows into Canada from a helicopter?" He's like, "What? Who said that?" It's like,
Oh, that poor guy.
who the hell said that? I mean, he's done that before, where people are like, "Hey, remember when you said this like pretty crazy thing?" He's like, "I never said that," and they're like, "Here's a video of you saying it," and he's like, "No, that
Fake
never happened."
news. Right.
I love it.
Yeah, I feel bad for that dude. Like, what's he got going for him? It's like, oh, did you see? Okay. Not to get off track here. And I hate to even bring it up because I think the level of voyeurism that we are enjoying at this tragic scenario is actually kind of gross. But it's there and it's happening. Because Kanye West and Kim Kardashian West are getting divorced, right? You've seen this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's a whole thing. And there's been a lot of weird back and forth that's happened because, Kim Kardashian is dating that guy Pete Davidson
Davidson.
from
Yeah,
SNL, and Kanye don't care for that. But also, like, very much Kanye is a person who was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, was on medication for it, and has said many times that he won't take his medication while he's working on new art projects because he can't be creative while he's taking his medication. Which, I mean, I don't know how it works for Kanye West. I know plenty of people who are on medication who are perfectly delightful and plenty creative, but whatever. Uh, in his last like unhinged Twitter rant, though, he started talking about how the liberals are trying to keep him down. The media, the liberals. There was some other random group of people that didn't make any sense at all. Lorne Michaels, who's the 100-year-old guy who runs Saturday Night Live, who is, by the way, like universally loved. Like Lorne Michaels is like universally recognized as a stellar human being. Um,
yeah. Can you imagine? Because you said he's coming. He's like, "I'm coming for you next,"
yeah, you
and
are. You're coming for Lorne Michaels. Okay. Like, but I forgot because
oh man,
I always forget because there was a theory going around for a little while that when Kanye West was kicking it with Donald Trump all the time, walking around in a MAGA hat constantly,
yeah,
and like saying real off-color things about slavery and things of that nature, uh, that what he was doing was pulling an Andy Kaufman, right? I think we even talked about it on the show a little bit, that what he was essentially doing was one long, protracted joke, a performance art piece to end all performance art pieces because it was so outlandish that we could not accept that it was anything other than a meme and that Kanye West was indeed a genius. I don't think Kanye West is a genius. I think Kanye West is a man with a mental illness that he's not taken care of. Um, I just forgot that he was doing all that MAGA stuff until he started talking about liberals. Like,
yeah,
liberals? Really? Are people even still talking about liberals? But apparently he's out for all the liberals. So if you or a family member identify as a liberal, please look out for Kanye West, you're apparently on his shit list, and he's going to start tweeting about you just anytime. Just watch out. Keep your eyes open.
yeah. It's it's real crazy and disturbing.
It is.
Guys like that, when they go through a divorce or a breakup, they can be very dangerous
Oh,
because
yes.
they're deeply wounded. And so, Pete Davidson better be watching his back. Lauren Michaels better be watching his back, because it might just seem
Yeah,
like he's shit talking on the internet, but I don't know. I could see him showing up at Rockefeller Center with a
right.
with a crowbar or
Yeah.
some shit, or a
Yeah,
chainsaw.
he's also a guy who's like notoriously kind of a megalomaniac who really thinks, like, legitimately has said that God has sent him to earth, and everybody plays it off as like, again, like theater, like ego, like hyperbole. But there were times there where it's like, whoa,
Yeah,
geez. do you think that you are Jesus? Because that's kind of what you're implying, and you're not really blinking when you say it, and that's a little disturbing. But yeah, no, you're 100% right, because that's like reading some of the stuff
Or
that he has done and said
yeah,
was like for me as a like person with a vagina, really deeply disturbing because I
yeah,
think everybody has been in that position with a dude at
yeah,
some point where
yeah.
you're like, oh my god, this person is dangerous. This is a dangerous person.
Or,
Uh,
even if he personally isn't dangerous himself, the thing is, he's got a lot of dudes who are still his fan.
yeah,
So, he's someone that has a following, kind of like Alex Jones or someone has a following. They might not be the person that's going to do the crazy violent thing, but one
yeah,
of their followers who is way into them is going to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go to New York. And if I see Pete Davidson walking down the street, I'm going to
yeah,
have Kanye's back and I'm going to, shoot him in the head or
yeah.
something.
Like, because I'm a shooter for Kanye. Like, sure
Right.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's dangerous. It's super dangerous stuff. But like one of the things I think goes on with people who like you got your My Pillow guys and your Donald Trumps and your Kanye West is that they end up like getting together with other people who have a lot of money and are not used to people telling them that they're being absolutely fucking out of control and that maybe they should dial it back a little bit. Like they're
Yeah.
not used to people telling them that. And chamber where these people reinforce each other's ideas
Yeah.
and pump each other up to like do dangerous stupid shitty things like run for president and
Yeah.
like
Well, that's the other dangerous thing about Kanye is he's fucking rich beyond anyone's dream.
yeah,
So if he wants to buy a tank and drive it into Rockefeller Center, or if
right,
he wants to rent a helicopter and like drop bombs instead of pillows from it, like
right, or
he
just
absolutely can do that. He has enough money to do
absolutely.
it.
And people would like it would be by the time people figured out he was serious and it was a really thing that was really happening, it would be too late. Or just like what a lot of people with money do and just do whatever they want and figure they're going to get away with it because they have lawyers and they're rich. And
Yeah.
who's going to put Kanye West in jail? Nobody, right? Right? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Scary
that dude,
stuff.
what's his name? The guy, did you see the Jinx with it was about this guy named Robert Durst, not Fred Durst. Robert Durst was this. It's a really good documentary. If anyone's looking for a recommendation, The Jinx. I forget which if it's on HBO or Netflix, but he was this dude that pretty much murdered his wife and then murdered a girlfriend and then murdered a friend that figured out that he had murdered these two people. So he
My
murdered
God.
three people and he pretty much got away for it for decades and decades just because he had enough money. He just
Right.
keep, paying his way out of being in trouble for it. But it's a pretty weird story because like there's one part of the story where he's trying to hide, so he dresses in drag. He has a wig and a dress, and he pretends that he's a mute little old lady, and
Wow.
he hides out like living this double life. And then he gets busted because he goes to a grocery store and he steals a sandwich out of the deli, and they have him on surveillance and they bust him for stealing the sandwich. Even though this guy is a millionaire, he could buy the whole store, but he gets busted for that. And then he gets out of it, of course, and he keeps like escaping because he has so much money and hiding out. The producers of this documentary, this is one of the best documentary moments ever. Robert Durst has a bad habit of talking to himself. So he's mic'd up for an interview and his mic is still hot. He goes into the bathroom and he's washing his hands and he's like, they're asking me these questions and what I do. Well, I killed them all. I killed them all, of course. It's like, holy crap, this dude just confessed to murdering these people on a hot mic.
Whoa. Is that how they finally like did they catch him? Like is
They
he in jail?
finally caught him,
Okay.
put him in jail, and then like less than a year later, he died of COVID in jail.
No shit.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow, that is pretty interesting. But yeah, but it happens though, and even less people who have tons of money just, I mean, they get away with shit. Like that's real life. Everybody knows that. Like you remember that one time that kid like like plowed through a crowd or whatever with his car, and his lawyers tried to argue that he had a mental condition that was caused by being rich, and it was called like privilegitis or something. Just totally, I swear it. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, they were trying to say that it was so hard to be rich that it obviously made you so crazy that you could not be held responsible for your actions. And they went to court on that, said it to a judge's face, right in his face.
Oh, here, I don't know if this. I think this is Ray. Affluenza.
Affluenza. There you
Nice.
go. I
Yeah.
like privilegitis better, but like, yeah, affluenza or
both
whatever.
both good terms. Both good
Both good
terms.
terms. Yeah. So we just hope that doesn't happen because, like, I mean, you don't want to see that go down. Also, I noticed not to be a person who's talking about celebrities because I don't give a shit about the Kardashians, but I am interested in the fact that Kim Kardashian spent years and years with this guy, Kanye West, and every picture she was ever in, every photograph, she just looked like a silicone doll, just expressionless, like a fashion plate. And now she's kicking it with Squeezy Dibs over there, who's like Pete Davidson is the wackiest looking dude. Like
Yeah.
he's not a pretty man, but he must be like funny and I don't know, maybe he's just real genuine and like that's a person who's used to hanging out with people who are full of shit all the time and it's just so fucking refreshing.
Yeah.
Like she's like, marry me, love it. Whatever it is. Like there's actually photographs of her smiling
Yeah.
like a person who's alive. And I gotta think that's better. That seems better to me. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, like you were saying, Kanye just seems like a guy who's really full of himself. He thinks he's like Jesus reincarnated and,
Yeah.
the greatest performer ever. So, hang out with someone that has a sense of humor and maybe has a sense of humor about themselves
Right?
is really uh, refreshing, like you say.
It is really refreshing. I bet. I bet it's good for her. I hope so. I don't hate Kim Kardashian. I hope that she's getting everything she wants and needs. And you know what? I didn't like her really that much until I saw her ex-husband treating her like shit and her just essentially
Yeah.
being like, I'm not engaging in this. And I was like, good for you, Kim. Nice work.
Yeah.
Good job. Proud
Yeah.
of you. Proud of you.
Yeah. Okay. So, who's going to be suffering from affluenza pretty soon? Me. I am, because I've got another get rich quick scheme,
Okay.
like I love. So I was not aware of this, but so if you go, there's a very unusual spot on this earth. It's called the Upper Peninsula, and it's part of Michigan, even though it's actually attached to Wisconsin. And people refer to it in brief as the UP. And because of that, the people who live there in this strange land are called Yoopers.
Love them. Love me a Youper.
And I was not aware that they have their own rare rock or mineral. It's called Euperlite.
Shut the fuck up. That's not real, dude. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm
It's
gonna need
totally
some
real.
independent fact checkers on T's ass.
Uh,
Youperite.
Euperite, yeah. And
Okay.
it's this very strange luminescent rock, but you can only see it if you like shine like a black light on it. But it has a chemical in it that makes the rock glow. Um, so it's a thing. And here's the thing: I posted this article about Euperlite in the T's Weird Week group, and one of our members was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter actually she collects the rocks and she sells them all over the country and the world
Huh.
because people want these." Yeah,
Youperite.
here Shane, he's backing me up here. Sodalite is the
Oh,
mineral
sure.
that's in this rock that makes it glow when you hit it with the light. I think it's a
Sure.
black light or a UV light. Let me see. I got the article pulled up here. Yeah, with the use of a UV light, You can discover boulders that shine like lava during a midnight stroll along the edge of Lake Superior. And the slang term is Uperlite.
Those rocks are from outer space for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because the UP is the gateway to the heavens, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's a sign somewhere that says that up there. Also, possibly one of the weirdest places in the world. You know, they have a bunch of Bigfoot sightings up there too.
In the UP, I'm not surprised at all about that.
Yeah.
It seems totally like a place that there would be.
Yeah. I mean, what else are they doing but and hanging out with the fucking Sasquatch? But yeah, they gotta. It's one of those places where they have a lot of UFO sightings and a lot of Bigfoot like sightings. I don't know if it's just because people have less to do and so they're paying closer attention, or if there's something particularly weird about the UP. I would argue the UP is pretty weird, um,
Yeah,
in the best possible way. I am not smack talking the UP. I
yeah,
love it there
yeah.
forever. But yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And these are safe. These rocks are not radioactive or whatever, right? They're
No, yeah, and they're
totally
not
safe.
radioactive. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Good, good, good.
So we need to. I mean, I would wait for better weather because I'm sure it's even
Yeah.
colder in the UP than it is here in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But the weather gets better. We need to rent a U-Haul truck, hit the beach, fill the truck up with Uperlite, drive it back down here, start an Etsy page or whatever,
Yeah.
start shipping that out and make a fortune.
We'll make a bunch of
Be
little UFOs out of it. They'll love it.
Uper millionaires.
Rolling Uper deep. Love it.
We'll be able to. You ever hear the band the Upers? They
Yeah.
were. You have, yeah. They had a hit song second week at Deer Camp or something.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Didn't they also do Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer?
Yeah,
Or was that somebody
yeah.
else?
Well, they might have not have written it, but they definitely did a version of it, I think.
It's my favorite
Uh,
Christmas song.
we can hire the Upers to do an exclusive party, and we'll
My
be
gosh.
ballers, balling.
We got just so many great events planned for our life. We're just gonna put that on the list. I love it. Great idea. I wonder if the Upers are still. We got to get the band back together.
Yeah.
We gotta do it. Okay. Love it. Love Uperlite. I'm looking for an all Uperlite ensemble. Just
We'll,
head to toe Uperlite.
we'll get those like snowmobile hats with the ear flaps on them, except they'll
Yes.
be like covered in like rhinestones and
Oh
gold.
my God. Now you're talking. You had me at rhinestone ear flaps, T. Spectacular. Oh, that's a nice story. That's a nice little story. I like that. Makes me feel good. There wasn't even any lizard people involved at all. Nice for us.
I like to throw in something to take the sting off of everything else that we talk about.
Oh, that's nice of you. Oh, that's nice of you. Hey, you gotta practice our Uper talk so we can get up there, don't you know? Me and Barb getting a
Yeah,
hot dish together, getting
yeah.
over to the church social. All right, real good.
That's good. Yeah, we gotta blend in with the locals so we can get the best
Mhm.
tips on where we're gonna collect Uperlite from. Okay. Well, we don't have too much time remaining, so we should talk about our first Tease Weird Week event that we're attending this year. I'm excited about it. I've been a little stir crazy here at home, so getting out to do some things sounds pretty good, and it looks like it's going to be a fun event. It's called I don't know if it's called the Chicago Paranormal Conference or the Paranormal Chicago Conference. Their event page is a little redundant. The name of the event page is Paranormal Chicago Conference Paracon.
Okay.
So it's one of those. But this is happening on March 6th. It's taking place at a place called the Pescadon Banquet, which is in one of the suburbs of Chicago. For this week's episode, by the way, I interviewed one of the speakers. His name is Tony Zabelski. He runs ghost tours in Chicago. And he tells me that this Pescadon banquet is very close to where a very famous Chicago ghost has been spotted named Resurrection Mary, who is a hitchhiking ghost that will get into people's car and then she will disappear. And it's said that she's one of the people buried in the Resurrection Cemetery, which is very close by to the location where this conference is.
That's a terrible name for a cemetery. That's like the opposite of what a cemetery is for, you guys. Like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, it's going on March 6th. There's a vendor floor with 40 different vendors. There's some guest speakers, including Jack Chavez, who is the organizer, and he's a paranormal investigator in Chicago, as well as Tony that I mentioned. Sam Maranto is great. He's been a guest at the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference before, and he is head of the Illinois chapter of the Mutual UFO Network, which
nice.
is the biggest UFO network in the world.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never talked to any of the MUFO people. I've always wanted to.
Sam is really a really interesting guy, and he's been with the organization since the 80s. So he's been doing this for a long time, and he's personally examined or investigated some really classic Chicago UFO sightings throughout the years. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Who else is going to be? Barnaby Jones was at the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference last year. He gave a talk on Bigfoot and cryptids. So
is that his given name, Barnaby Jones?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Like, what do you think your kid's going to do when you name him Barnaby Jones? He's going to give talks about Bigfoot. Oh, God, that's great. That's great.
He's the leader of a group called CAPS, Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Society. So I like it when a conference covers all my favorites: ghosts, UFOs, and cryptids.
Yeah.
So
it's a charcuterie of weirdness. I like it. I like that. Okay, great. And we're going to go down there and we're going to hang out and we're going to talk to people on the floor and maybe have some like special candlelit fireside chat time with some of the best and biggest weirdos there. And just generally, I think, be silly. That's my plan. My plan is to walk around being weird and hope people are like, that chick's weird. We should hang out, which is actually my social strategy since like 1989, and it's worked for me so far. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, you know, like if I do Milwaukee Paranormal Conference or something, I'm running around the whole time, like making sure stuff is happening. So it sounds really good to be able to sit at a table and like just talk to people that I know, meet some new people, talk up the podcast here, you know.
Are you going to bring some of your mom's Mothman plushies?
I don't have any of them, so I'm not going to bring those, but I'm going to bring some Milwaukee Paranormal Conference like stickers, buttons. I'm going to bring some of my books, of course. So we'll have some stuff set up on the table there.
Gorgeous. Love it. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, me too. So if you're listening to this and you're in Chicago or Milwaukee, it's not a bad trip down from Milwaukee to Chicago. You should go. It's a free event. Stop by our table and say hi. In the show notes for this episode, I'll include a link so you can check out the Facebook event page for this as well.
Yeah. All right, cool. I love that. What a great week. There's pillows floating down out of the sky and there's glowing rocks in the UP. That's lovely. That's lovely.
All right. Well, happy 2/22/22 day, everybody.
Happy Tuesday. Week. Bye, friends.